Pour ce nouvel épisode de notre série Watches of Watchmakers, nous nous sommes rendus, où ça? En Hollande, et précisément à Oldenzaal chez les frères Grönefeld. Grönefeld, c'est un nom qui circule et qui résonne dans l'horlogerie depuis un certain temps, mais surtout depuis la sortie de leur chronographe. Une pièce qui incarne parfaitement qui ils sont, ce qu'ils veulent faire, bref, c'est complexe, c'est Grönefeld. Ça faisait déjà un certain temps qu'on suivait quand même leurs aventures, mais là, on a saisi l'opportunité pour vous faire découvrir et vous plonger au cœur de leur univers. Bref, un vrai moment de découverte et de passion que nous avons le plaisir de vous partager.
Our parents, they had a jeweler store. Grandfather started as a watchmaker, really repairing, restoring watches, and his little company grew out to become a jewelry. First I wanted to become a jeweler. I wanted to continue their store, and I went to a school in the Netherlands which is focused on the jewelry trade. Okay. And there you can have, you can become a watchmaker, a clockmaker, a goldsmith, silversmith, engraver, or a jeweler. But since I wanted to do something with my hands, first I chose to become a goldsmith. And then I found out that working with wheels, pinions, with watches, the precision of it, it was much better for me than sculpting gold and silver, and it was much more artisanal. Watchmaking, it's a very precise job, and I love that. And so that's why I became a watchmaker. But when I finished watchmaking school in the Netherlands, I was 19 years old and I wanted to learn more. Okay. So that's why I went to Vostep, Switzerland. Okay. I was the first Dutch student at Vostep. And then Mr. Simmerman, my teacher, sometimes he took pocket watches from home, he showed it to the students. And I was like, oh, this is not Seiko, this is not ETA, this is from another planet. This is, whoa, and you could see it's handmade and hand-finished. And so then I really became in love with the watchmaking. I went to the museum in La Chaux-de-Fonds and in Geneva. I thought, oh, there's a whole other world after what I've seen in here in the Netherlands. And then I got a beautiful job at Renault Papi, working again on really high-end watches. I started there as, I was 21 years old. And I was put at the bench and they gave me assembly kits for minute repeaters. And there wasn't much training. It was hands-on and by trial and error. I made a lot of errors, but I had to really find my own way, how to build them. Yeah. And I had to transmit the knowledge to much older watchmakers. And what I've learned, you cannot really find in books. No. You can maybe find in books how to repair a minute repeater, not to make a new one. Yeah. You have to understand what a designer did with the movement. So I had to talk also a lot with Giulio Papi, who designed the movement. So it was mainly in the beginning trial and error. For the work, I wouldn't have left Renault Papi. Yeah. It was because of the family and friends. I wanted to return to my country. Yeah. Creating the brand was quite strange with us. First of all, as you said, I'm a watchmaker, not a designer, I'm not a businessman. But first we learned proper watchmaking at Renault Papi in Switzerland. When we came back from Switzerland, we wanted to show the world what we can do. So the first watch we made was a tourbillon minute repeater with a Christophe Claret movement, because those complications, the minute repeater and the tourbillon, were our specialities. So our first watch was a minute repeater, and it was at the beginning of the financial crisis, back in 2009.
Perfect timing.
Really the worst timing ever. When we launched the watch, we thought, oh my God, in this time, why do we launch this? But the watch was ready. We started it like 3 years before. We got a lot of media attention in the Netherlands because we were the crazy Dutch guys launching a new brand, launching this very expensive watch. So the newspaper caught up and we were in television shows. And then the first watch was sold like 2 or 3 weeks after the launch. So we thought, okay, this is really perfect. The year after, we didn't sell anything. The year after that, we didn't sell anything. But then another crisis started, and that was also touched by the Swiss. So our work after sales also dropped down. And then we thought, okay, how do we keep our watchmakers busy? Yeah. How do we keep them at the bench? And that time we decided, okay, let's try once more with the launch of a second timepiece. We knew we had to do something to really stand out. Then we decided, okay, we're going to make the 1 hertz, jumping seconds, with a special movement, never done before in a wristwatch. The design is a bit different. It was very asymmetrical dials. And I see the second watch, the 1 hertz, I see that as our first watch. Okay. The first one, I consider that as a training watch. It was a crazy start in crazy time. But the second watch, it was a serious watch, all new. We developed that one together with Renault et Papy. It was much more unique, very high-end. And then slowly we started selling. First 5 of those, then 10. Yeah. This is actually the watch that belongs to our father. So it's jumping seconds, large seconds to enhance the complication. It has a power reserve indicator, hours and minutes here, and a winding and setting indicator. So to set the time, you push, it goes to setting, S. You can set the time, and when the time is right, you push again, it goes back to winding. When we created this look and material, we thought, okay, this is looking beautiful. On the other hand, oh my God, it takes so much time to do the finishing of the stainless steel. But this one became more or less a success for us. Yeah. And when we created the watch after, the parallax tourbillon, we thought, okay, we need to continue with this. Since the 1 hertz, if you put all movements next to each other, you can see there's really a signature. It's coming from one brand. The Dutch market is very small for us because people here are not used to independent watchmaking. And this watch was meant to open more our local market, and it's a kind of a success. But we can only build like 20 per year. That's the disadvantage because we are too busy making chronographs. What is really influenced by our family is this watch, the remontoir. Okay. The remontoir has a constant force device, and the mechanism is actually called a remontoir. That device is found in the church tower. Okay. The church, just close to just across the square. Yeah. And maintenance of that movement was always done
by your grandfather and your father.
Yes, and now myself. And that mechanism also always caught our attention since we were little kids. The chronograph, I think it was my first serious watch for myself, which was a Seiko chronograph. Yeah. When I was like 15 years old, I got from my father a Seiko chronograph, and it was chronograph always was nice. And then we had the idea to make it different. We want to make like a slow reset. And that actually also comes from quartz watches. Because quartz chronographs also go slowly back to zero. We created quartz in this jumping seconds. And now we have again like a quartz function into a mechanical timepiece. But the thing we loved is to have a mechanical theater. And the mechanical theater in the repertoire is very much there because you have the spinner, you have the whole gear train. Every 8 seconds you can see the whole gear train going forward. So we want to make it also visible.
Okay.
But then more like in slow motion. Actually, the designing of watches is going much easier because the style of the movement, the materials of it, we know. When we do a next watch, we know we're gonna use stainless steel, gold chatons, the shape of the bridges. So the aesthetics is very easier. I compare our watches a little bit with our building.
Yeah.
From the outside, it looks kind of normal, but if you go inside, it's wow.
Yeah.